This story is inspired by real-life submissions. Names and identifying details have been changed. My brother stood in my kitchen, leaning against the counter like he owned the place. Actually, that's exactly what he was about to tell me. This story is inspired by real-life submissions. The house is mine now, he said, casual as ordering coffee. And I need you to stay upstairs tonight. Important dinner. Rachel's family is coming. I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. It didn't come. They're wealthy people, he continued, straightening his collar. Old money. Real estate investors. I can't have you wandering around, confusing things. He smiled, but it wasn't warm. You know how you get? How I get. Like I was a child? Like I was the problem. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words caught in my throat. This was my house. I'd lived here for 17 years, paid every mortgage payment, every property tax bill, every HOA fee that showed up like clockwork. Just stay in your room, okay? He patted my shoulder. It's easier this way, less complicated. I climbed the stairs, feeling smaller with each step. From my bedroom, I could hear everything. The doorbell, his loud, confident voice. Welcome, welcome. Come in. Let me show you around. I sat on the edge of my bed, hands folded in my lap, listening to strangers' tours my home. This is the original hardwood, my brother announced, his voice carrying up through the floorboards. Refinished it myself 2 years ago. I'd hired the contractor. I'd written the check. And here's the kitchen, just renovated. Marble countertops, stainless appliances. My countertops, my appliances. Someone laughed, a woman's voice. You've done so well for yourself, honey, she said to my brother. I assumed that was Rachel's mother. A house like this, at your age, well, you know, he said, and I could hear the grin in his voice. Hard work. Smart investments. I stood up and walked to my closet, needing something to do with my hands. That's when I saw it. The old filing cabinet I kept in the back corner, behind the winter coats. I pulled open the drawer and there they were. Copies. Notarized copies. The deed with my name. The mortgage statements. All addressed to me. The property tax receipts I'd been paying since 2008. I pulled out a folder, hands shaking slightly. Downstairs, my brother was still performing. And here, check this out. The Ring camera system. Top of the line. I can monitor everything from my phone. My phone? My Ring account. My subscription? I heard footsteps moving toward the dining room. Glasses clinking. A toast? Someone said. To success. I sat back down on the bed, holding the folder against my chest. Through the heating vent, a man's voice drifted up, quieter than the rest. She's old, he said. She won't notice. My stomach tightened. They were talking about me. The dinner went on. I could smell the food I hadn't been invited to eat. Could hear the stories my brother told. The laughter, the approval. He was building something down there. A version of himself that didn't include me. A life where I was invisible. Inconvenient. Then, cutting through the noise, a new voice. Older, female, firm. So tell me, she said, and the room seemed to quiet. Who actually owns this house? My brother laughed. Smooth, rehearsed. Well, like I mentioned, it's a family property, but I handle everything now. My sister, she's upstairs. She lives here, but what's her name? Silence. Just for a beat. Then another voice, Rachel maybe, called up the stairs. Margaret? Could you come down for a minute? I stood up, folder still in my hands. My heart was pounding, but my legs felt steady. I walked to the top of the stairs and looked down. 8 faces turned toward me. My brother's smile was frozen in place. And I knew, right then, that the story he'd been telling was about to fall apart. I came down those stairs holding that folder like a shield. Every eye in the room followed me. My brother's smile tightened at the corners. "Everyone, this is Margaret," he said, voice still smooth but with an edge now. "My older sister. She's been living here with me for convenience." Living with him? In my own house? Rachel stood up from the table, wineglass in hand. She was younger than I'd pictured. Mid-30s maybe? Beautiful in that effortless way some people are. "It's so nice to finally meet you," she said, but her eyes were confused. "David talks about you." "I'll bet he does." Her mother, a woman with silver hair and expensive jewelry, gestured to an empty chair. "Please, join us." My brother jumped in before I could answer. "Oh, she probably just needs something from the kitchen. Don't you?" He looked at me meaningfully. "You can head back upstairs. We're in the middle of business talk." Business talk. In my dining room. "Actually," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded, "I think I should stay." Rachel's father, a tall man with sharp eyes, leaned back in his chair. "Of course you should. It's your home too, isn't it?" "Well," my brother laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Technically, it's more complicated than that. See, there's this inheritance situation, family trust thing. My attorney is handling the paperwork. Mom left everything in my name, but Margaret has lifetime residence. So, he was lying, smoothly, confidently, making up entire legal arrangements that didn't exist." Rachel touched his arm. "I thought you said your mother passed away 10 years ago." "She did, and the paperwork is still being processed." My brother shifted his weight. "Estate law is complicated, especially with older beneficiaries." He glanced at me. "Margaret gets confused about these things sometimes. Don't you?" There it was again. That word. Confused. Rachel's mother set down her fork. "I don't mean to pry, but the utility bills? The mail we saw in the entry? It was all addressed to Margaret." I watched my brother's face. He didn't miss a beat. "Right. Because it's administratively simpler to keep everything in her name. Social Security, benefits, that kind of stuff. She handles the day-to-day while I manage the actual property." He took a sip of wine. "Keeps her busy, gives her purpose." Purpose? Like I was a pet, he was humoring. Rachel looked at me directly for the first time. "Is that true?" I could have nodded. Could have played along. Made it easy for everyone. Instead, I set the folder on the table. "What's that?" my brother asked. "The deed," I said quietly. "From when I bought the house? In 2008? The room went silent. Even the quiet jazz playing from the speaker seemed to pause. Rachel reached for the folder, but my brother intercepted it. "These are old documents. Before the transfer. Like I said, the attorney has the current paperwork." "What attorney?" Rachel's father asked. "What's the firm?" My brother froze for just a second. "Morrison and Associates. Downtown." "I know Morrison," the father said. "Good firm. I'll give them a call next week, just to understand the structure better. For tax purposes, you understand." "That's really not necessary also," Rachel's mother interrupted, leaning forward. "The HOA notices on the counter. They're addressed to Margaret too. From last month." She looked at me. "Have you been paying those?" "Every quarter," I said. "For 17 years." Rachel opened the folder before my brother could stop her. Inside was the notarized deed, county seal, clear as day. My name, my signature, the mortgage company's stamp. "David," she said slowly, "this shows Margaret as the sole owner. Like I said, that's outdated. The attorney will clarify when exactly were you planning to clarify it." Her voice had changed. Sharper now. My brother stood up, trying to regain control of the room. "Look, this is family stuff. Complicated family stuff. Margaret's getting older. She needs help managing things. The house technically transfers to me upon her. Well, eventually. The attorney suggested we start treating it as mine now to avoid probate issues later. He was painting me as a burden, a problem to be managed. Rachel's father pulled out his phone. What's the attorney's number? I'd like to speak with him directly. He's not available on weekends. Then we'll call Monday. My brother's jaw clenched. You're making this into something it's not. Rachel stood up now too, still holding the deed. I think I need to see the mortgage statements. The property tax records? If this is your house, your name should be on something official, right? They're in Margaret's name for tax reasons. What tax reasons? He didn't have an answer. The silence stretched out, thick and uncomfortable. Rachel's mother reached across and took my hand. She didn't say anything, but her grip was firm, supportive. I think, Rachel said carefully, we need to take a step back here. Maybe give you two some time to sort this out. That's not necessary, my brother said quickly. Really, this is just a misunderstanding. Then help me understand, Rachel said, and there was steel underneath the sweetness now. Because right now, it looks like your sister owns this house, lives in this house, pays for this house. And you just told my entire family it was yours? My brother looked at me then. Really looked at me. His expression was something between anger and desperation. Tell them, he said. Tell them about the arrangement. I held his gaze. Thought about all the times I'd made myself small, convenient, easy. There is no arrangement, I said. Rachel set her wine glass down with a soft click that sounded like a door closing. Rachel's father stood up slowly, the kind of movement that meant he was done being polite. I think we need to see those documents, he said. All of them? My brother forced a laugh. Come on, Richard. You're acting like I'm some kind of con artist. This is my sister. We're family. Then the documents should be easy to produce. I went to the kitchen and pulled open the drawer where I kept everything organized. Bank statements, property tax receipts, insurance renewals, the mortgage payment confirmations going back years. I'd always been careful about keeping records. Someone had to be responsible. When I came back, my hands were steadier than I expected. I spread the papers across the dining table, right over the plates of Haffaton dinner. This is the original deed, I said, pointing. Recorded with the county clerk on March 15, 2008. You can see the registration number here. Rachel's father pulled reading glasses from his pocket and leaned in. He ran his finger along the document, checking details the way someone does when they actually know what they're looking for. My brother waved his hand dismissively. Those are ancient. She forgets how long ago that was. Things have changed, have they? I pulled out another paper. Here's last month's mortgage statement. Still in my name. And the payment confirmation from my bank account. Rachel picked it up, studying it. This shows automatic payment. Set up when? 2008, I said. Never missed one. My brother shifted his weight, trapped between the table and the credenza. Look, Margaret handles the payments because it's easier for her to manage. But the ownership transferred when what? Richard interrupted. When exactly did this transfer happen? I told you, the attorney is processing. No. Richard's voice was flat. I've done enough real estate deals to know how this works. A property transfer requires a new deed, recorded with the county, notarized signatures, title, company involvement. He looked at my brother. Show me that deed. It's with Morrison, then call him. Right now. My brother pulled out his phone, made a show of scrolling through contacts. He won't answer on a Saturday night. Try anyway. I watched my brother's thumb hover over the screen. He didn't dial, just held the phone like a prop. Rachel's mother spoke up, her voice gentle but pointed. I worked at a bank branch for 30 years before I retired. This paperwork looks legitimate to me. She tapped the mortgage statement. And if Margaret's been making payments from her own account all this time, that's not administrative convenience. That's ownership. She doesn't understand the full picture, my brother said. Desperation creeping in now? She gets confused about financial matters. That's why I stepped in to help. I'm not confused, I said quietly. I'm 73, not incompetent. Rachel flinched at my age. I saw it register. Saw her look at her mother, then back at my brother. Math was being done in her head. 73, she repeated. And you've been paying a mortgage since 2008. That's 17 years. 18 in March, I said. Richard pulled out another document from my stack. Property tax receipt. Paid by Margaret Norton. County Assessor records. He looked up. These are public records, David. Anyone can verify them. The room felt smaller suddenly. My brother loosened his tie. This doesn't make sense, Rachel said. But she was talking to him now, not me. You told me you bought this house 5 years ago? You said it was your biggest investment. I was simplifying. You were lying. Her voice cracked. You brought my parents here, introduced them to your property. Made my mother think you were this successful entrepreneur, and the whole time you were living in your sister's house. Our family house that she owns. Rachel's hands were shaking now. That she pays for. My brother turned to me, his expression hardening. You're ruining this. You know that. You couldn't just let me have this one thing? This one thing is my home. You won't even remember it in a few years. Old people forget. Stop! Richard's voice cut through. Stop talking. My brother went quiet, but I could see his mind racing, looking for an exit. Rachel's mother stood up and walked around the table to where I sat. She put her hand on my shoulder. How long has he been living here? 3 years, I said. He needed a place to stay after his divorce? I thought it was temporary. And you let him stay rent-free? I nodded. She squeezed my shoulder. You're a kind woman. Too kind, maybe. Rachel gathered her purse, her movements sharp and decisive. We're leaving now. Rachel? Wait, my brother started. No. She held up her hand. I need time to think. Time to process the fact that you lied to me, to my family, about something this significant. It's not what you think. What do I think, David? Tell me. Because from where I'm standing, you tried to pass off your elderly sister's house as your own. You humiliated her. Hid her upstairs like she was something to be ashamed of? Her voice broke. What kind of person does that? My brother looked at me, and for a second I saw something like pleading in his eyes. He wanted me to fix this. To smooth it over. To make myself small again so he could be big. I stayed quiet. Rachel's father picked up his coat. My attorney's name is Philip Brennan. He specializes in elder law. If you need someone to review your documents, make sure everything is protected. I'll have him call you Monday. Thank you, I said. My brother stood frozen as they filed out. Rachel wouldn't even look at him. At the door, her mother turned back to me. Don't let anyone make you doubt what you know, she said. The papers don't lie. People do. The door closed. The house fell silent except for the sound of my brother's breathing and the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall. He looked at me across the scattered documents. Are you happy now? He said. I thought about that. About happiness. About truth. I'm tired, I said finally. So tired of being invisible. He left the room without another word. I heard his footsteps on the stairs. A door slamming. I sat alone at my table, in my house, surrounded by proof of my own existence. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I could breathe. Sunday morning came with text messages. 3 from Rachel's mother, all kind. 1 from Rachel herself that just said, I'm sorry for what happened. You deserved better. Nothing from my brother. He'd stayed in his room all night. I could hear him up there, pacing. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop, something I hadn't done in months. My brother always said I got too worked up looking at bills online that he'd handle it, so I'd stop checking. Now I logged into my bank account, hands shaking slightly on the keyboard. The mortgage payment was there, like clockwork, $1,847.23, automatically withdrawn on the 1st of every month. 17 years of identical withdrawals. But there were other charges too. Ones I didn't recognize. A Costco membership under my name. I didn't shop at Costco. Premium subscriptions to streaming services I'd never heard of. Cash withdrawals from ATMs in places I'd never been. My stomach tightened. I pulled up my insurance portal next. Homeowner's policy, current and paid. Auto insurance for a car I no longer drove, but that was registered in my name. The vehicle listed was a 2022 Audi. I didn't own an Audi. I heard footsteps on the stairs. My brother appeared in the kitchen doorway, hair uncombed, still wearing yesterday's shirt. "We need to talk," he said. I closed the laptop. "I think we're done talking. You embarrassed me in front of Rachel's family. Do you understand what you did?" I told the truth. He laughed, bitter and sharp. "The truth, right? Like it's that simple." He poured himself coffee, didn't look at me. "You're making this into something it's not. What is it then?" "I live here. I contribute." "I maintain the property with what money?" I asked. "Because it's not showing up in any bills I pay." He waved that away. "I buy groceries. I fixed the fence last summer. That fence cost $800. I have the contractor's receipt." "Jesus, Margaret, you really kept all of that." "Someone had to." He sat down across from me, tried a different approach. Softer. "Look, I know last night was rough, but we can fix this. I'll call Rachel. Explain that you got overwhelmed, that the documents confused you. Stop saying I'm confused. Then stop acting like I'm the enemy here. I'm your brother, your family. Who else is going to take care of you when you can't manage on your own?" There it was. The threat underneath the concern. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Philip Brennan, Richard's attorney. I'd like to schedule a call Monday morning if you're available. 9 a.m. work?" I typed back, "Yes, thank you." My brother saw me texting. "Who's that?" "Rachel's father's attorney." His expression shifted. "You don't need an attorney. That's ridiculous. He specializes in elder law." Elder law. My brother stood up fast, chair scraping. "That's what you think this is? Some kind of abuse case?" "I don't know what this is yet. I'll tell you what it is. It's you believing strangers over your own blood. People you met one time." He pointed at my phone. "They don't care about you, Margaret. They're just embarrassed they got caught up in family drama. Rachel's mother offered to help. She pities you. That's different." The words stung because part of me wondered if he was right. But then I thought about her hand on my shoulder. The way she'd looked at those documents, professional and certain. My brother pulled out his own phone. "I'm calling Rachel. Straightening this out?" She asked for space. "Yeah, well, she'll listen to me once," I explained. He dialed, put it on speaker. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. He tried again. Same result. "She's screening you," I said quietly. He slammed the phone on the counter. "This is your fault. You realize that? I had something good, something real. And you ruined it because you couldn't just stay upstairs for one night. You told me to hide in my own house. I asked you for one favor. One night? Was that really so much?" I thought about all the favors, the years of them. Let him move in. Let him use my car. Let him tell people the house was his. Let him make me small enough to fit his story. "Yes," I said. "It was." He stared at me like I was a stranger. "You've changed. You never used to be like this." "Like what?" "Difficult." The doorbell rang. We both froze. My brother moved to answer it, but I got there first. It was Rachel's mother, holding a casserole dish covered in foil. Behind her, Rachel sat in the car, engine running. "I made too much," she said, though we both knew that wasn't true. "Thought you might like some. It's my chicken and rice." "Thank you," I said. taking it. It was still warm. She lowered her voice. I also brought something else. She pulled an envelope from her purse. Information about setting up account alerts. Fraud protection. My friend at the bank branch put this together. Just in case. Just in case. I don't want to overstep, she continued. But when someone tries that hard to convince others you're incompetent, it's usually because they're doing something they don't want noticed. My brother appeared behind me. Mrs. Chun, this is unnecessary. Family matters are private. I understand. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I also understand that sometimes family is where the danger comes from. She looked at me. You have my number? Use it if you need to. She walked back to the car. Rachel gave a small wave from the driver's seat. They pulled away. My brother grabbed the envelope from my hands. What is this? I took it back. Help! From strangers. From people who see me. He looked at me for a long moment. You're really going to do this? Turn me into the villain. I'm not turning you into anything. I'm just not pretending anymore. He went back upstairs. I heard the door lock. I opened the envelope. Inside were printouts about financial abuse, warning signs, a checklist for securing accounts, and a handwritten note. Trust your gut. The numbers don't lie. Susan Chunai sat down with the casserole and the information and my laptop. Started going through every account, every statement, every charge. By noon, I had a list. 23 transactions I hadn't authorized. For accounts I didn't remember opening. 1 credit card maxed out in my name. The Ring camera notification pinged. I opened the app and scrolled back through the footage from the past month. My brother leaving at 9 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. Coming back at 3 p.m. on my car. The Audi I was somehow paying insurance on. I saved the videos. I documented everything. And I waited for Monday morning. If this is hitting close to home, stay with me. Because what I found next changed everything. The attorney called at 9 sharp. Philip Brennan had the kind of voice that made you feel believed. Calm, professional, no pity, just focus. Walk me through what you found, he said. I read him the list. The unauthorized charges. The accounts I never opened. The car insurance for a vehicle I didn't own. My voice only shook once. When I got to the part about the ATM withdrawals in cities I'd never visited. How long has your brother been living with you? 3 years. Since his divorce? And he has access to your mail, your personal documents? I thought about the filing cabinet in my closet. The drawer that was never quite closed all the way anymore. Yes, there was a pause. I heard him typing. Margaret, I'm going to be direct with you. What you're describing fits a pattern I've seen many times. Financial exploitation of elderly individuals by family members. It's more common than people think. Elderly, there is that word? But coming from him, it didn't feel like an insult. Just a fact. The good news is, you've kept excellent records, he continued. The deed, the mortgage statements, the tax receipts. That's going to matter. Have you checked your credit report recently? No. I need you to do that today. Right now, if possible. I'm going to send you a link to a secure site. Look for any accounts or loans you didn't authorize. My hands were already moving to the laptop. Okay. One more question. Does your brother have power of attorney over your affairs? No. I never signed anything like that. You're certain? I thought back. All the times he'd pushed papers in front of me. Sign here. It's just the HOA renewal. This is for the homeowner's insurance. I'd always read them first. Always. I'm certain. Good. That's very good. More typing. I'm going to recommend we take several immediate steps. First, freeze your credit. Second, set up fraud alerts with your bank. Third, change all your passwords and PINs. Fourth, he paused, and I know this is difficult, but fourth, we may need to formally document this. File a police report. Police? The word landed heavy. He's my brother. I understand. But if he's committed identity theft or financial fraud, that's a crime. It doesn't stop being a crime because of family. I heard footsteps upstairs. My brother, pacing again. Can I think about it? Of course. But Margaret, people who do this don't usually stop on their own, especially if they think they can convince you to stay quiet. His voice softened. How much has he taken? I looked at my list. Did rough math? At least 15,000. Maybe more. The typing stopped. In 3 years. That I can find so far. We need to move quickly. I'm going to send you a secure email with instructions. Follow them exactly. And Margaret? He waited until I answered. Don't tell your brother what we're doing. Not yet. People in his position can get desperate when they realize they're being caught. We hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, looking at my list of numbers, feeling the weight of what was real. The credit report loaded. I scrolled through it, heart pounding. 2 credit cards I'd never applied for. Both maxed out. A personal loan from a payday lender. $8,000. Delinquent. A charge account at a furniture store. $12,000 balance. My credit score had dropped 200 points in 2 years. I felt sick. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother. Need to talk? Now? I didn't answer. Another text. I know you're home. Stop ignoring me. Then, this is getting out of hand. Whatever that lawyer told you, he doesn't understand our situation. Then, I'm your family. Not him. Not Rachel's parents. Me. I turned my phone face down and went back to the computer. Followed Philip's instructions step by step. Froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. Set up account alerts. Changed my banking passwords to things my brother could never guess. The notifications started immediately. Login attempt blocked. Password reset attempted. Account access denied. He was trying to get into my accounts right now, while I sat downstairs. My hand shook as I screenshotted each notification. Footsteps on the stairs? Fast. Angry. He appeared in the kitchen doorway. What did you do? Secured my accounts. You locked me out of everything. They're my accounts. His face was red. I need access to pay the bills? To manage things? I've been paying the bills for 17 years. I think I can manage. He moved closer. Not threatening, but close enough to loom. You're being manipulated. That lawyer, Rachel's family, they're putting ideas in your head. The ideas were already there. I just stopped ignoring them. I'm trying to help you by taking out loans in my name. He froze. What are you talking about? I turned the laptop toward him. Showed him the credit report. This loan, and this one, and these credit cards. Want to explain those? His jaw worked. Those were for house repairs. 4 things we needed. We, or you. It's the same thing. I live here too. Without paying rent. Without contributing. I stood up, surprising myself. You've stolen from me. For years. I haven't stolen anything. I'm your brother. What's yours is mine, I said. What's mine is mine? He laughed, but it was ugly. You think you can survive without me? You're 73 years old. You need help. You need someone to look after you. I don't need someone to rob me. That's not what this is. Then what is it? David, explain it to me. Make it make sense? He couldn't. Just stood there, opening and closing his mouth. I want you out, I said. The words came easier than I expected. I want you out of my house. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. He leaned against the counter, ran his hands through his hair. When he looked up, his expression had changed. Calculating. If I leave, who's going to take care of you? Who's going to make sure you don't forget to pay the mortgage? Lock the doors? Take your medications. I've been doing all of that. This whole time. For now, But what about next year? 5 years from now? He stepped closer. You need me? And deep down, you know it. The cruelty of it took my breath. This was the real threat. Not violence, not even the money, but the idea that I was incapable, that I needed him more than my own dignity. My phone rang. Philip Brennan, I answered, keeping my eyes on my brother. Hello? Margaret, I've reviewed the documents you sent. I'm filing a restraining order today, and I need you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. My brother must have seen something in my face because he went very still. Are you safe right now? Philip asked. I looked at my brother, at the desperation in his eyes, the anger. I don't know, I said. Philip's voice came through the phone, steady and clear. Margaret, I need you to stay on the line with me. Is your brother in the room? Yes, I said. Can you go somewhere private? Your bedroom, maybe? My brother watched me, jaw tight. I walked past him, up the stairs, into my room, closed the door, locked it. I'm alone now. Good. I've been in contact with the fraud department at your bank. They're flagging the unauthorized accounts. But there's something else. He paused. This morning, someone tried to initiate a wire transfer from your primary checking account, $25,000, to an account in Nevada. My legs went weak. I sat on the edge of the bed when 8:47 a.m., about 20 minutes before our call. The bank blocked it because of the fraud alert we set up. But Margaret, whoever tried this had your account number, routing number, and social security number. I heard footsteps in the hallway. My brother, pacing outside my door. What do I do? I whispered. First, you stay where you are. Second, I'm calling the police to do a welfare check. Third, I need you to gather any physical documents you can. Deed, mortgage papers, bank statements, anything that proves ownership and the fraud. Put them somewhere he can't access them. I looked at my closet, the filing cabinet. I have copies of everything. Get them. Right now, while I'm on the line. I moved quickly, pulling files, stuffing them into a canvas bag I kept in the closet. Birth certificate, social security card, insurance policies, the original deed with the county seal, every mortgage statement from the past 3 years. A knock on my door. Margaret, open up. Kept packing. Margaret, I know you're scared, but that lawyer is lying to you. There was no wire transfer. He's trying to turn you against me. Philip heard him through the phone. Don't respond. Keep gathering documents. I added the printed credit reports, the screenshots of the blocked login attempts, the list of unauthorized charges. I'm your brother, David called through the door. I would never hurt you. You know that. But I didn't know that anymore. I zipped the bag and sat back on the bed. I have everything. Good. Now, I need you to check something. Your car title? Do you still have the physical title? I went to the filing cabinet, fingers searching the tabs. Vehicle folder, empty. It's gone. When did you last see it? I tried to remember. Maybe a year ago, when the registration renewal came. Margaret, I think he may have transferred your car into his name. That would explain the Audi on your insurance. He used your old vehicle as collateral or trade-in. The room tilted slightly. But it's my car. It was your car. If he had the title and forged your signature, he could have sold it. This is bigger than we thought. His voice hardened. The police are on their way. I need you to not open that door until they arrive. Not for anyone. Do you understand? Yes. I'm staying on the line with you. Another knock. Harder this time. Margaret, this is ridiculous. We're family. You can't just lock me out. I heard something downstairs. A crash. Glass breaking. My heart jumped. He's breaking something. I hear it. Police are 3 minutes out. Stay where you are. More crashes. Louder. He was in the kitchen. I heard cabinet doors slamming, then silence, then footsteps on the stairs. Fast. Margaret. His voice was different now. Desperate. I found your little evidence pile. The papers you printed? The bank statements? A pause. You really think you can do this? You think you can destroy me? Philip's voice was calm in my ear. He's panicking. That's good. It means he knows he's caught. 2 minutes. Open this door right now, or I swear to God, he didn't finish. Just kicked the door. The frame shook, but held. Margaret, police are pulling up to your house right now. I see them on my end through the dispatch system. Hold on. Another kick. The door cracked near the lock. I grabbed my phone, opened the Ring app with shaking fingers. 2 police cruisers in my driveway. Officers getting out. The doorbell rang. My brother went quiet. I heard him move away from my door, down the stairs. They're inside the house now, Philip said. I can hear them on the dispatch. You're safe, but stay in your room until an officer comes to get you. I heard voices downstairs. My brother's, loud and friendly. Officers, thank God you're here. My sister, she's having some kind of episode. Locked herself in her room. She's 73, she gets confused. A woman's voice, firm. Sir, we're here for a welfare check on Margaret Norton. We need to speak with her directly. Of course. But I should warn you, she's not herself lately. Early dementia, we think. She's been accusing me of crazy things. Where is she? Upstairs. But maybe I should go up first. Calm her down, sir. Step back, please. Footsteps on the stairs. A knock on my door, gentle this time. Mrs. Norton? This is Officer Chun with the Riverside Police. Are you okay in there? I unlocked the door, opened it. A young woman in uniform stood there, another officer behind her. Male, older, hand near his belt. I'm okay, I said. My voice sounded small. Officer Chun looked past me into the room. Saw the packed bag. The open filing cabinet. Has anyone hurt you physically? No. But he tried to take money. From my account. This morning? We're aware. Your attorney briefed us. She stepped inside, lowered her voice. We're going to need you to come downstairs and give a statement. Can you do that? I nodded. She walked with me down the stairs. My brother stood in the living room, hands up slightly, like he was the reasonable one. Margaret, finally. Tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Officer Chun positioned herself between us. Mr. Norton, we're going to need you to wait outside while we speak with your sister. This is insane. I live here. Do you have a lease agreement? Rental contract? He hesitated. No, it's a family arrangement. Then you're a guest. Please step outside. His face went red. She's not competent to give a statement. She doesn't understand. The male officer moved forward. Sir, you need to comply. Now. My brother looked at me, really looked at me. You're really doing this. Calling the cops on your own family. You stole from me, I said quietly. For years. I helped you. I took care of you. You took everything. Officer Chun guided him toward the door. He went, but kept talking. You'll regret this. When you're alone and confused and there's no one left, you'll wish you'd kept me around. The door closed. Through the window, I watched him stand on the front lawn, phone to his ear. Officer Chun sat down across from me. Okay, Mrs. Norton. Let's start from the beginning. When did you first notice unauthorized activity on your accounts? I told her everything. She took notes. Asked for documentation. I showed her the bag of papers, the screenshots, the credit report. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. A notification from my bank. Attempted account access blocked. Login attempt from unrecognized device. I showed her the screen. She nodded. He's trying to delete evidence. Good thing you changed the passwords. Another officer came in from the kitchen. Ma'am, there's broken glass on the floor. Looks like he went through some drawers. Officer Chun made a note. We'll document that. Mrs. Norton, I need to ask you directly. Do you want to press charges? The question hung there. Heavy. Final. I thought about 17 years of mortgage payments. Of being made to feel small. Of hiding upstairs in my own house. Yes, I said. I want to press charges. She stood up. We'll need you to come to the station later today to file a formal report. For now, we're going to have him removed from the property. Do you have somewhere safe he can collect his belongings under supervision? The garage? His things are mostly there. Good. We'll arrange that. She looked at me with something like respect. You did the right thing, keeping those records. Most people don't. Through the window, I watched my brother arguing with the officers outside. Gesturing. Probably telling them I was confused, incompetent, crazy. But this time, nobody was listening. The police station smelled like burnt coffee and industrial cleaner. I sat in a small interview room with Officer Chun, my bag of documents on the table between us. Walk me through the timeline again, she said, pen ready. I started with 3 years ago. When David moved in, promising it was temporary. How the mail slowly started disappearing. How he'd intercept packages, answer the door, handle the bills he said were too confusing for me. Officer Chun stopped me. Did he ever explicitly say you were incompetent? Not in those words. But he'd tell people I forgot things. That I needed help managing. She made a note. Classic isolation technique. A knock on the door. Another officer stepped in, handed Chun a folder. She opened it, scanned the contents. Her expression hardened. Mrs. Norton, we ran your brother's name through the system. He has 2 prior incidents. Financial disputes with his ex-wife, and a restraining order filed by his former business partner for forging signatures on loan documents. My stomach dropped. I didn't know. Most family members don't. People like him are very good at selecting vulnerable targets. She slid a paper across to me. This is the wire transfer attempt from this morning. $25,000 to an LLC, registered in Nevada. Guess who owns it? I didn't need to guess. We're charging him with identity theft, attempted fraud, and financial exploitation of an elderly person. But I need you to understand something. She leaned forward. He's going to fight this. He'll say you gave him permission, that you're confused, that this is a family misunderstanding. I kept receipts, records, everything. I know. And that's going to save you. She tapped the folder. But it's going to get ugly before it gets better. My phone rang. Philip Brennan. I answered on speaker. Margaret, I'm outside the station. I have news. Officer Chun nodded. Send him in. 2 minutes later, Philip walked in carrying his own briefcase. Mid-50s gray suit, the kind of calm authority that made you believe everything would be okay. He sat down, opened the briefcase. I did a deeper dive into your brother's finances. He's been running a credit scheme using your identity for at least 18 months. 5 credit cards, 3 personal loans. That car title transfer we discussed. He pulled out a spreadsheet. Total estimated theft, $47,000. The number hit like a punch. $47,000? My voice cracked. Possibly more. We're still uncovering accounts. He looked at Officer Chun. I've also discovered he attempted to file a quitclaim deed last month, trying to transfer the house into his name. It was rejected by the county clerk because the signatures didn't match. Officer Chun wrote Fester. He tried to steal the house. He tried, failed because Margaret had registered her signature with the county years ago during the original purchase. Philip looked at me. That foresight just saved your home. I couldn't breathe properly. The room felt too small. There's more, Philip continued. I spoke with Rachel this morning. She's willing to testify about what happened at the dinner. Her mother saved the recording she mentioned. It captures your brother claiming ownership and you stating the truth. Officer Chun smiled. This case is getting stronger by the hour. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You're making a mistake. Family doesn't do this to family. I'll make sure everyone knows what you did. I showed it to Officer Chun. She photographed it with her own phone. Witness intimidation. Added to the list. Another text. Rachel left me because of you. I lost everything. Hope you're happy. Then you won't be able to handle that house alone. You'll see. Philip took my phone gently. Stop reading these. Let me handle his communications from now on. Officer Chun stood up. We're going to request an emergency protective order. He won't be able to contact you or come within 500 feet of your property. It should be granted by end of day. What about his things? I asked. He still has belongings in the house. We'll arrange a supervised visit. He gets 1 hour to collect essentials. Everything else stays until the civil case is resolved. Civil case? Criminal charges? Protective orders? The words swirled around me. I know this is overwhelming, Philip said quietly. But you're doing everything right. The documentation, the police report, freezing the accounts. You're protecting yourself. I just wanted him out of my house. I didn't want all this. I understand. But sometimes, justice isn't quiet. He closed his briefcase. Your brother made choices. Now he faces consequences. That's not on you. Officer Chun walked me out of the station. Philip followed with the documents. Outside, the afternoon sun felt too bright. Mrs. Norton, Chun said at the door, I've been doing this 12 years. I've seen a lot of financial abuse cases. Most victims don't report it. They're too scared, too ashamed, or too convinced they're the problem. She met my eyes. You're not the problem, and you're not alone. I drove home in silence, Philip following in his own car to help me change the locks. The house looked the same from the outside, but everything felt different. Inside, the broken glass was still on the kitchen floor. David's coffee cup still on the counter. His jacket on the back of the chair. Philip made calls while the locksmith worked. I cleaned up the glass, swept the floor, erased the small facets of chaos. By 5 p.m., I had new locks, new keys, a protective order served. My brother's things sat in boxers in the garage, waiting for his supervised pickup tomorrow. Philip handed me copies of everything. Keep these somewhere safe, not in the house. Maybe a safety deposit box. I will. And Margaret. He paused at the door. What you did today took courage. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. After he left, I sat in my living room, in my house, with my new locks and my documented truth. For the first time in 3 years, I was alone, and I'd never felt safer. The supervised pickup was scheduled for 10 a.m. 2 officers, Philip, and me. David arrived 15 minutes late, driving a car I'd never seen before. He walked past me like I was furniture, headed straight for the garage where his boxers waited. You have 1 hour, Officer Chun reminded him. Only personal items. No documents. No household property. He threw open boxers, shoving clothes into garbage bags. Angry, jerky movements. I stood in the doorway watching, Philip beside me. This is insane, David muttered, loud enough for us to hear. My own sister. Calling the cops like I'm some criminal. Officer Chun didn't respond, just watched. He grabbed his laptop bag, some books, stopped at a box of tools. These are mine. I bought these. Receipt? The other officer asked. David glared. I don't keep receipts for every screwdriver. Then they stay. His face went red. He threw the screwdriver back in the box hard enough to make noise. 20 minutes in, his phone rang. He answered, stepping outside. I could hear him through the open door. Rachel, thank God. Yes, I know. But she's lying. The whole thing is fabricated. Pause. No, I didn't steal anything. Those accounts were joint. She just doesn't remember agreeing to them. Philip made a note on his phone. Baby, please. Just give me a chance to explain in person. His voice cracked. She's got dementia or something? The cops don't understand. Her lawyer is manipulating Mr. Norton. Officer Chun called out. Phone call on your own time? Keep packing. He came back inside, jaw clenched. Grabbed more clothes. Then he saw something. Stopped. On top of one box was a framed photo. Him and me, maybe 10 years ago. Thanksgiving. Both smiling. He picked it up. Stared at it. You really hate me that much? I didn't answer. I'm your brother, Margaret. Your only family. His voice dropped. When I'm gone, you'll have nobody. I'd rather have nobody than someone who steals from me. He threw the frame back in the box. Glass cracked? You're going to regret this. You think you can manage alone? You can't even work your own thermostat. Philip stepped forward. That's enough. Stay out of this. Lawyer, this is family business. It stopped being family business when you committed fraud. David's hands balled into fists. Officer Chun moved closer, hand near her belt. I need everyone to stay calm, she said evenly. David grabbed the last bag, threw it over his shoulder. I'm done here anyway. This place is falling apart. Have fun paying for repairs when the roof leaks. When the furnace dies, you'll be calling me, begging for help. I won't, I said quietly. He laughed. We'll see. Give it 6 months. You'll realize you need me. He walked to his car, threw the bags in. Before getting in, he turned back. I talked to Mom's estate lawyer. By the way, there's a clause in the trust about competency. If you're declared mentally unfit, control passes to me automatically. My blood went cold. Philip's expression didn't change. There is no trust. We've verified that. David smiled. Are you sure? Because I have documents that say otherwise? He drove away. Tire screeching. Officer Chun turned to Philip. Can he do that? Fake a trust document? He can try. Won't hold up in court, but he can try. Philip looked at me. This is what I warned you about. It's going to get ugly. That afternoon, I got an email. From an attorney I'd never heard of. Subject line, competency evaluation request. I opened it with shaking hands. The letter claimed David had concerns about his sister's mental fitness and was requesting a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation. It cited erratic behavior, paranoid accusations, and inability to manage finances. I called Philip immediately. I just got it too, he said. It's a stall tactic. He's hoping to delay the criminal case by making you look unreliable. Can they force me to do an evaluation? They can request one. But Margaret, you have 17 years of financial records proving you're perfectly capable. You've managed a mortgage, property, taxes, insurance. That's not someone who's incompetent. What do I do? We fight it. I'm filing a response today. And we're going to need character witnesses. People who can testify to your mental sharpness. I thought about Susan Chun, Rachel's mother, the bank manager who'd worked with me for years. I can get witnesses. Good, because this is his last card. If this doesn't work, he's out of options. That evening, Susan called. I heard what happened. The supervised pickup. News travels fast. Small community. Look, I want to help. I'm willing to testify if you need me. Tell a judge exactly what I saw at that dinner. How sharp you were. How he tried to manipulate everyone. Thank you, I said, throat tight. Also, I may have mentioned your situation to my book club. 6 women. All retired professionals. 3 former lawyers, a banker, a social worker, and a retired judge. She paused. They're very interested in making sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. And they have resources. Resources. Let's just say they've dealt with men like your brother before. They know how to make sure the truth comes out. 2 days later, Philip called with news. Your brother's competency petition has been dismissed. The judge called it frivolous and unsupported by evidence. He's also been ordered to pay your legal fees for defending against it. I sat down hard. Really? Really? And there's more. The DA is moving forward with criminal charges. Identity theft, fraud, forgery on the quitclaim deed attempt. He's looking at serious jail time if convicted. When's the trial? Preliminary hearing is in 3 weeks. But, Margaret, there's something you should know. Rachel contacted me. She wants to give a statement. She also found something. What? Apparently, your brother told her he owned 3 properties. She got curious after the dinner, did some searching. There are no other properties, just yours. Everything he told her was a lie. She's furious, and she's willing to testify to all of it. I closed my eyes, exhaled. It's really happening. He's really going to face consequences. He is. Because you kept the receipts. You trusted your gut. You didn't let him convince you that you were the problem. That night, I sat at my kitchen table. My table. In my house. With my new locks and my clear title and my documented truth. The letter from the court sat in front of me. Petition dismissed. I thought about David's face at the pickup. The rage. The disbelief that I'd actually stood up. For so long, I'd been invisible. Convenient. Easy to erase. But not anymore. The truth doesn't disappear just because someone wants it to. And neither do I. The preliminary hearing was in courtroom 3B. I sat in the front row with Philip, hands folded in my lap. Across the aisle, David sat with a public defender, refusing to look at me. The prosecutor was a woman named Linda Hayes. Sharp suit, sharper questions. Your Honor, the evidence is substantial. We have documentation of 18 months of systematic financial exploitation, 5 fraudulent credit cards, 3 personal loans, attempted wire transfer of $25,000, and an attempted property deed fraud. The judge, a black woman in her 60s, reviewed the file. Mr. Norton, how do you plead? David stood. Not guilty, Your Honor. This is a family misunderstanding. My sister gave me permission. Do you have written authorization? Power of attorney? Any legal documentation of this permission? His lawyer whispered something. David sat back down. No, Your Honor. Judge Williams looked over her glasses. Then we'll proceed to trial. Bail is set at $50,000. David's face went white. Your Honor, I can't afford that. Perhaps you should have considered financial consequences before committing financial crimes? She banged the gavel. Next case. Outside the courthouse, Philip squeezed my shoulder. That went well. The judge sees right through him. When's the trial? 6 weeks. Plenty of time to prepare. He checked his phone. Also, the bank finished their investigation. They're refunding the fraudulent charges. $23,000 back into your account. $23,000. Not everything, but something. Rachel appeared from the parking lot, walking quickly. Margaret, I'm so sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible. You didn't have to come. Yes, I did. She looked toward the courthouse. Is he still inside? Just left through the side exit. She nodded. Good. I don't think I can look at him without getting angry. She turned to me. My mother wanted me to give you this. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note and a check for $5,000. The note read, for legal fees or peace of mind. No one should have to fight alone. Susan, my eyes burned. I can't accept this. She insisted. She said, women like you paved the way for women like me. This is paying it forward. I folded the note carefully, tucked it back in the envelope. There's something else, Rachel said quietly. I found text messages. Between David and me. From 2 months ago. He was asking about my father's net worth. About family trusts. Real estate holdings. Her voice shook. He was sizing up my family. I wasn't a girlfriend. I was a target. Philip pulled out his phone. Can you forward those to me? They establish pattern of behavior. Already did. This morning. She looked at me. I'm testifying. Whatever you need, I'm there. The trial came faster than expected. The courtroom was small, wood-paneled, smelling like old law books. Linda Hayes laid it out methodically. Bank statements, credit reports, the attempted wire transfer, screenshots of blocked login attempts, the forged signatures on the quitclaim deed. This wasn't confusion, she told the jury. This was calculated theft from a vulnerable family member over 18 months. He isolated her, controlled her mail, convinced others she was incompetent while systematically draining her resources. David's public defender tried my client was helping manage his elderly sister's affairs. Any charges were discussed and approved, then why? Linda interrupted. Did he need to forge her signature on a property deed? Why attempt a wire transfer at 8:47 a.m. while she slept? Why create accounts in her name without her knowledge? The defender had no answer. Susan Chun took the stand. Described the dinner. How sharp I'd been. How David tried to claim ownership while I produced documents proving otherwise. She knew every detail. Susan testified. Property taxes, mortgage payments, insurance policies. That's not someone who's incompetent. Rachel testified next. Calm/clear. Devastating. He told me the house was his. That he'd worked hard for it. He paraded my family through like it was a showroom. She looked at the jury. And the whole time, his sister was upstairs, hidden away like she was something to be ashamed of. The bank manager testified about the fraud alerts, the blocked transfer, the pattern of unauthorized access. I testified last. Told my story simply. The 17 years of payments. The slow isolation. The moment I found those credit cards, I never opened. Did you give your brother permission to take out loans in your name? Linda asked. No. Did you give him permission to attempt transferring your house into his name? No. Did you ever, at any point, agree to any of these transactions? Never. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. David's face crumpled. His lawyer whispered to him. He shook his head, disbelieving. Judge Williams set sentencing for 2 weeks out. Mr. Norton, you exploited someone who trusted you. Someone who took you in when you needed help. The betrayal here is profound. Outside, Philip hugged me. Actual hug. Professional boundaries dissolved by relief. You did it, he said. You stood up. You spoke truth. And you won. I didn't feel like I'd won anything. Just like I'd survived. Susan and Rachel waited by my car. Susan handed me another casserole. Victory chicken and rice. I laughed. Actually laughed. You're going to keep me fed forever. Someone has to. She smiled. What will you do now? I looked up at the courthouse. Thought about my house. My name on the deed. My account secured. My truth validated. I'm going home, I said. To my house. And I'm going to live in every room. Don't miss what happens next, because the sentencing brings one final revelation that changes everything. 2 weeks later, I stood in that courtroom again. Judge Williams looked at David with something like sadness. I'm sentencing you to 4 years in state prison. You'll also be required to pay full restitution, $47,000 plus legal fees. David's shoulders shook. His lawyer helped him sit. However, the judge continued, I want to say something to Mrs. Norton. I looked up. What you did took extraordinary courage. You trusted yourself when everyone told you not to. You kept records when it would have been easier to ignore. You spoke up when it would have been easier to stay quiet. She paused. The law exists to protect people like you. And it worked because you let it. I nodded, throat too tight for words. As they led David away, he looked at me one last time. No anger now, just emptiness. I walked out into afternoon sun. Philip beside me. Rachel and Susan waiting. Where to? Philip asked. Home, I said. Always home. 3 months after sentencing, I stood in my kitchen making coffee. The morning light came through the window the way it always had, but everything felt different now. The mail came. I opened it myself. Electric bill in my name. Property tax notice in my name. A letter from the county clerk confirming my deed was sealed and protected. Everything exactly as it should be. My phone rang. Susan Chun. Good morning, Margaret. Just checking in. How are you? I'm good, I said. And meant it. Book club is meeting Thursday. We'd love to have you join us. No pressure, but we're reading a mystery this month. Very twisty. I smiled. I'll be there. After we hung up, I walked through my house. Really walked it. Living room where I'd sat invisible during that dinner. Dining room where the truth had started unraveling. Kitchen where I'd finally said no. Upstairs, I passed what used to be David's room. I'd turned it into something else. A reading nook. Big chair by the window. Bookshelves I'd always wanted but never had space for. The room was mine again. The whole house was. A notification from my Ring camera. Rachel at the front door, carrying grocery bags. I opened it before she could knock. You didn't have to do that. I was at Trader Joe's anyway. Thought you might want some of those cookies you mentioned. She set the bags on the counter. Also, I have news. Good news or bad news? Good. I'm seeing someone. A teacher? Very normal. Very honest. He's met my parents 3 times and never once tried to claim ownership of their house. We both laughed. I'm happy for you, I said. I'm happy for me too. She unpacked the groceries, putting things where they belonged like she'd been here 100 times. You know what's weird? I learned more from what happened with David than I did from any relationship that worked out. About red flags? About trusting my gut? I learned the same thing. 73 years old and still learning? She turned to face me. You saved me, you know? If you hadn't stood up that night, I would have married him. He was already talking about it. About combining assets, selling my condo, investing together. She shook her head. I would have ended up just like you. Except I wouldn't have kept the receipts. You would have figured it out. Maybe not. She touched my hand. Thank you. For being brave when it was hard. After she left, I sat on my front porch with coffee and the newspaper. My neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski, waved from across the street. Margaret. Looking good? I waved back. Felt seen. The restitution payments started coming. $500 a month automatically deposited. It would take years to get everything back, but it was coming. The state was making sure of it. Philip called that afternoon. Just got the final paperwork. Your credit score has been restored. All fraudulent accounts closed. You're clean. Thank you. For everything. You did the hard part. I just filed the papers. He paused. How does it feel? I looked around my living room. My furniture? My photos? My life. It feels like I can breathe, I said. That evening, I got an email from a victim advocacy group. They'd heard about my case and wanted to know if I'd be willing to speak to other seniors about financial abuse. Share my story. I stared at the request for a long time. Then I typed, yes, I'd be honored. Because maybe that was the point. Not just surviving, but making sure others knew they could too. Sunday afternoon, Susan's book club met at my house. My idea? 6 women, all between 60 and 80, sitting in my living room drinking tea and talking about mysteries. Halfway through, Susan set down her cup. Can I ask you something personal? Of course. Do you regret it? Pressing charges? He was your brother. I thought about it. Really thought. He stopped being my brother when he decided I was something to exploit instead of someone to love. I picked up my own cup. I regret that it happened. I don't regret stopping it. The women nodded. One of them, the retired judge, spoke up. I've presided over cases like yours. Most don't end with the victim standing up. You're remarkable. I'm not remarkable. I just kept receipts. That's what makes you remarkable, she said. You trusted yourself. Later, after everyone left, I stood in my kitchen washing teacups. My kitchen. My teacups. My choice to host. The house was quiet but not lonely, full of possibility instead of fear. I thought about David sometimes, about the 4 years he was serving, about whether he understood what he'd done. But mostly, I thought about myself, about the woman who'd climbed those stairs that night, folder in hand, heart pounding. About the moment I'd decided to be visible. The Ring camera caught movement outside. A delivery. I opened the app and saw the driver setting a package on my porch. Flowers from Rachel and Susan. The card read, 2 new beginnings. I brought them inside. Put them in a vase on the kitchen table where everyone could see them. My table. My house. My new beginning. I sat down with my laptop and opened my email. Started typing a response to the advocacy group. Told them I'd speak. Told them I'd share everything, the receipts, the court case, the moment I found my voice. Because somewhere out there, another woman was being told she was confused. Another family member was stealing while pretending to help. Another person was being made invisible in their own home. And maybe my story could help them trust what they knew. Trust the receipts. Trust themselves. The sun set through my kitchen window. My window, in my house, under my name. I'd spent 3 years being erased. But I'd spent 17 years before that building a life, paying my bills, keeping my records, being responsible even when no one noticed. And in the end, that quiet consistency had saved me. Not because I was remarkable, but because I refused to disappear. I looked at the flowers on the table, at the clean counters, at the deed in its frame on the wall, a gift from Philip, properly mounted and visible, proof of ownership, proof of perseverance, proof that truth doesn't need to shout to be heard. It just needs to exist, documented, witnessed, real. I took a sip of tea and smiled. I was home, and I was staying. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and if you've ever had to stand up for yourself when everyone told you not to. Your story matters, and you're not alone.